Hey there, it's Jitsy, and you're listening to the Crush Chronicles podcast, a safe space for millennials to reflect on our crushes and how they affect our lives. So grab your coffee or wine, pull out your old diaries, and settle in for today's topic and discussion. Welcome back to the Crush Chronicles podcast. Today we have a special guest who is returning from a previous season. And just as a reminder that the Crush Chronicles podcast is based on the serial memoir that I post over on my Patreon, which you do not have to have read at all in order to enjoy the podcast. But if you want to, you can do so at patreon.com/Jitsy, Jitsie. So today we have someone who is, when not spending time with his cat Adele and his girlfriend Karen, he is spending his days working with children, teaching them how to read, write, and occasionally solve a math problem or two. A cinephile and bibliophile, he loves analyzing pop culture and pondering life's greatest mysteries, such as, are we truly alone in the universe? And why can't I claim my cat as a dependent on my taxes? Do you know how much money I spend on her? And I feel that because I have to spend $1,000 on my cat this September for a cavity. So please welcome Michael to the podcast. Back to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Very good.
Good. So we're going to start with an ice crusher, just really quick. And I'm going to make it much more simple than the last time that you were here. Who are you crushing on right now?
Ooh. That's
I think it's harder as we get older. We don't really think about it as much.
now I'm just like, who's in a movie that I like, or okay, well, just because I'm really looking forward to the Odyssey and Spider-Man, Zendaya right now. Zendaya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you see like all the hoopla about their wedding and everything?
I'm so
Yeah,
happy.
it's super cute. I
Like
know.
they seem more like in love. Like, I don't want to start anything, but like they seem more in love than, I'm just gonna say, a certain singer and her football husband who had a big
Mhm.
extravagant thing, whereas Zendaya and Tom Holland just kind of like, yeah, we got married small,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, there's like a stark difference there in those two, at least the reportings of them.
Very
But
show
yeah,
off,
she's a
very
cool one. Yeah, so I'm going to share one of mine, and I don't know if this is going to make sense, but I recently discovered a band and they're called Melrose Avenue. I even went to go see them in May. So I don't have a crush on like any of the band members. I have a crush on the band.
No, that makes sense.
Does it? Okay. Because the music, like I found them on Instagram and they are all very handsome, but they're also like 10 years younger than I am. But they're from Australia, which I thought was like really cool. And then when I started listening to their music, I was just floored and I was like listening to them all the time and they do a great live show. But one of their songs, it's called Suffering. I think it's one of their most popular songs. And when the guitar solo played, I'm pretty sure like my knees went weak because it was just so good. So just the whole band musically, that's who I'm crushing on right now.
No, I get that. Yeah, there's some bands
Yeah.
you sound like everybody. I didn't have a crush, but like it sounds so stupid. Dixie Chicks for a while there.
That's not stupid.
Well, just because like that's not my type of music, but I mean it was
It
during that.
happens.
Yeah, and it was during the whole Bush administration, so
Mm,
I really
mhm.
liked their politics, and I was just like, you know what, they're all pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, I'm glad you understand because I was like, people might not get this, but this is what it is.
I get it.
Good. Okay, so we're gonna start. Before you came today, you read part 2 of Johnny. Yes, am
I
I
read both of
saying
them.
it?
Yeah,
You read both of them? That's awesome.
I wanted the background before I read the second part.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But the questions are specifically based on part 2.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive deep into that. So, first question, it's stated in the first paragraph that teen Rachel loved to attend dances at her high school, and her high school had a lot of dances. It was bonkers. But how often was teen Michael going to high school dances?
Exactly 2 dances in 4 years of high school, and they were both my senior year. I went to a winter formal because I kinda low-key got tricked into it, and then I went to my senior prom.
So you felt like kind of the senior obligation to go to prom.
I wasn't really even thinking about prom, and my mom was like, "Are you gonna go to prom?" I was like, "Oh, you have to pay for that." She's like, "Well, okay, I'll get you money. I'll pay for the
Oh,
suit." And I was like, "Why? What is like, why are you trying to get me to go to prom?" I think she just wanted me to have those high school experiences and not miss out, which, I'm thankful for, but yeah, I wasn't really a dance person. I just don't like, even to this day, I'm kinda like, well, now I have to be drunk to dance. And back then wasn't a legal option. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of it is like, I don't know that I was dancing I mean, I did like to dance, but some of it's just a social aspect too. So it sounds like you ended up enjoying it and not like regretting going.
yeah, no, prom was amazing. Like our prom was at I think it was in Long Beach. It wasn't on the Queen Mary, but it was like very adjacent to it. Like this nice
Ah,
restaurant ballroom venue. I don't remember for the life of me what it was called, but it was literally in that area right by the Mary because we could like go out
nice.
on the deck and just stare at the Mary. And it was really fun. They had karaoke there. I didn't do karaoke. Yeah, and it was fun. I actually enjoyed getting dressed up. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to be able to, dress a little bit outside of the norm and, go just
and
have
especially
fun with your peers.
kind of feels like adult. You know, you're getting all fancy.
Yeah. Mhm.
And for me, the time I remember getting fancy before that was maybe, like, communion, my first communion or graduating from 8th grade. So I didn't really have, like, a lot of options to get all fancied up. It
Yeah,
was
and
just
those are more like kind of obligation
yeah.
type having to dress up, whereas the prom is like that you're gonna go and have like a night of frolic or whatever, so it's
Yeah,
a little bit different.
had
So
a
how did you get tricked into going to your winter formal? This is interesting.
okay, so I should caveat this with, like, I had a really big crush on one of my friends, one of my, like, close friends, and I knew she was going, but, like, I wasn't gonna ask because I was still I think like I said last time, I don't make my intentions known if I have a crush on somebody, you know? And it was around this time that we were doing a wedding project for I don't even remember what class. It was either religion or it was like an economic class. We had to like plan a wedding. We got
Wow.
like a budget. Yeah, it's like some of us got like the unlimited budget, some of us got like the nothing budget, and some of us got like a medium budget. And this was like 2004, so you can imagine the budgets were different back then, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have like an unlimited budget, but we had like a medium budget. And anyway, so it was me, one of my friends, and then like two or three other people. And we had like gone to like try on these clothes at like our JC Ross, whatever store it was, right? And we were gonna take photos for the wedding, but we didn't actually end up taking photos. So then my friend said, like, oh, well, if we go to Winter Formal, we can take the photos there and we could pretend like this is the wedding. And I was like, I guess we can do that. And then, like, she called me up on the phone with one of her friends and kind of like asked me to like winter formal on the phone with one of her friends. So I kind of felt like pressure to like say, okay, let's go, sure. So that's how I was low key tricked going formal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
You
did
were.
enjoy.
You were.
Yeah, I didn't like once I was there. I didn't, I had fun. I had fine time, but it was just more like it wasn't my choice. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Time.
You did get your arm twisted a little bit there.
Yeah, and I was just like I was kind of like a baby about it too. I was just like, "Oh, I have to put on this nice shirt, I have to comb my hair." That was the big thing I was pissy about, combing my hair.
Yeah. I think we talked last time about like the struggles of having to deal with curly hair as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's 2 years, so I was trying to grow my hair out longer, so I was like so I had to comb
Yeah. So you
it was just a whole to do, and I wasn't exactly happy, but I was like, "Okay, fine, this is my first high school dance, like, it's whatever." So
Yeah, and then you got to, like, kind of, break that first initial going to a dance, and then you're probably more comfortable going to senior prom instead of it
yeah,
just being, like, a all-in-one, like,
yeah.
nervousness go.
And prom too is like one of those like I don't know if other countries have this, but like we have like a very big like it's a very big thing to go to a high school prom, you know, and like you see all those stupid teen movies. It's like oh they go to the big prom at the end, and everything. So like I was kind of looking forward to prom, but at the same time I was just like oh such a hassle. But yeah, so I had a fun night at prom. We ate at like this really fancy restaurant, like my first time eating at a fancy restaurant, with friends and everything. I felt very adult, and it was fun. I still have that prom picture of me somewhere. I'm like decked out in my black suit, green tie, and I'm wearing my Converse. Because like that was the where I drew the line. I was like, I'm not getting nice shoes. I hate nice shoes. I'm wearing Converse, and my date was like, all right, that's fine.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of guys at my dances and proms were just wearing Converse with their suits, and it was just kind of the look,
Yeah,
even though it was also for comfort, like, that was just also like, you guys had a benefit because it was the style then too.
my mom was very much like, you need shoes. It's like, I don't need shoes. My date doesn't care. She's like, no, you need shoes. You're gonna look bad in all the pictures if you don't have nice shoes. And I was like, Mom, I really don't care. So, and it's just funny to this day though. There's like a picture of like 5 of us like standing in front of the limo, and all the dudes like have nice shoes, and I'm just there with my Converse. And I'm like, whatever.
Really? You're the only one.
Exactly. I was the only one. I was like, I don't care. Even to this day, I'm like, if I have to go to a wedding or something where I have to wear nice shoes, I'm just very upset about it because I hate
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah, because 'cause they're not comfortable. But I love that you were, like, the unique one in the prom photo. Okay. So for this story, what about it stood out to you and why?
I mean, just the one that stood out the most was just like kind of like the butterfly feeling of like just that like feeling of being young again and just going back to those times of like you're going to a date or dance, you're getting all gussied up, you're going with someone you like, going with your friend, having a good time. And I was actually reminiscing about that too. So I was like, I didn't really go like I said, I only went to 2 dances, and prom was the only one that I really remember just because it was very, like I stayed at my friend's house, or I stayed the night at my friend's house after prom, like, we all met at his house, and just that, like just like being one of those, like, big milestones.
Yeah, I definitely love all those, like, butterfly type feelings and stuff, and yeah, it's fun to again, my school had so many dances that I really don't remember much about. Like, basically what you read is all I remember.
Yeah.
There's not much, and even, like, maybe it's a good thing you didn't go to so many dances because you remember a lot more, and I went to both my junior and my senior proms, and I really can't remember much. But granted, I also feel like I have a poor memory, but that's why I journal all the time because I am always afraid I'm gonna forget something.
And at that age, I feel like they did have, like, dance, like, for every little thing. It was like, "Oh, it's spring formal, it's winter formal, it's homecoming, it's this, it's the" just dances for, like, the ridiculous things,
Yeah,
like
it's like, just choose 1 per season, and let's just leave it at that, and because senior year also granted, not all dances are just for seniors, but when you get to a senior everything's so expensive your senior year because you have, like, your senior photo, and if you wanna buy a yearbook and you have to buy your cap and whatever it is, like, they're just the costs of being a senior, like, rack up, and that was what for me, I graduated 2003, so who knows what the costs are now.
yeah, I don't even wanna think
Or
about it.
what other crazy things they have added to poor seniors and teenagers of today's high schoolers.
Yeah. Also, like, I mean, I don't well, like, did you guys have to buy, like, a dress for each dance too?
Yes. Yeah.
Jeez, that's yeah, expensive, right?
Yeah. So, I remember when I there was, like, a store at the mall that had, like, pretty, like, not too expensive, like, I wasn't, like, going to Windsor, which Windsor's still even, like, not that expensive. But, yeah, where they would just I think they probably it was just fast fashion before we knew what fast fashion was, and they just knew that girls were going to all these dances, so it wasn't that much, and sometimes you could, like, reuse a dress for something and maybe just, like, reaccessorize it. A lot of people didn't care, but that was part of the fun for us was to go shopping, and for those of us that did like to go shopping, is to go and, like, get the dress and stuff. But yeah, no, it would yeah, because then if you get a dress, then you would need something to coordinate, like shoes, and then you would want jewelry, and yeah, it would be a thing. And then some people would go and get their hair done, like, at the salon, like, it was just girls would get their nail I was not one of those girls 'cause no, but they would get their nails done, and yeah, it was a thing.
Easier, like, "Okay, what kinda suit do you want?" And I was like, "My date said black. Here's the color of green for the tie and the cummerbund or whatever, the
Yeah.
pocket." Yeah. And I was like, "Okay, there. That's what I need." She's like, "That's it?" I was like, "She told me, like, like, color coordination, just like black suit, just make sure the tie matches." And I was like, "Alright, done?" And even for my winter formal, I think I just got, like, out, like, my one nice pair of pants, the one nice shirt I had like, this very basic black tie, and I was like, "Alright, done. That's it."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you
And
probably look great.
great.
Yeah, I don't think I ever remember coordinating with any of them because they just wore all black because it would go with whatever I was wearing, and I think maybe one date, like, asked me what color I was wearing, and he, like, matched his tie or something, and that was it. But yeah, for the most part, they just were like, "We'll dress nice and we'll figure it out." So, tell me about a time when someone was obviously into you, but you didn't really reciprocate, because that's kind of how this story starts.
It was, like, sometime after senior year, maybe in, like, that sweet spot for, like, I don't know, like, 2005, 2006, or something like that, and it's this person I had known for, like, a really long time, and, people would always tell us, like, "Oh, why don't you just go out? Like, you guys are always flirting," and to me, I was like, "Am I flirting or am I just being how I am with people?" I can't at that age, I couldn't really tell if I was flirting or if I was just being, like, playful with everybody because there were times when I was that young, like, I was just that's just how I was. I was very playful, very bantery, and she was into me, and I was just like, "Too lazy." That was my whole big thing back then too, just like, "I'm so lazy." I was just like then I have to figure out, then I have to do all this and that. I'm just like, I don't care that much. No, I was so like, I just don't care. Like, unless I was into the person, I was just like, I really don't care. But she was just somebody that I grew up with. And like I said, we've kind of just been flirty, like off and on, which to me, I wasn't being flirty. I was just being, like dorky me, And it's only when I got older that I realized and had a conversation about it. She's like, "Oh yeah, I was totally into. You didn't know?" I was like, "Why didn't you say something?" She's like, "I thought it was obvious," and I was like, "Oh, guess it wasn't obvious. Like I can't read the signs. Damn."
I mean, I don't think you're the only one. I know, my husband gets picked on a lot for having been oblivious many times in the past. I'm surprised he picked up on me, so you're not the only one. But, yeah, I do feel like I don't know, it's maybe in my writing or something, there's something I was thinking about. I do think that it is easily confused between being nice and being flirty sometimes,
Yeah,
like, which is kinda sad because it's just like we can't interpret basic kindness as basic kindness. We think it just means something more.
yeah.
But I do think it does get easily confused sometimes, no matter what age you are. So I do think that's a pretty common thing.
Like I said, like especially back then, I guess like I've always kind of like thought that I had like maybe like a flirty personality looking back on it now. But like back then, it was just like me just being kind of like not like goofy, but just more like if you were like a close friend of mine and like we had like a good rapport, you know, I'm like more comfortable with you. I'm able to bullshit with you. We can joke around, stupid stuff like that. Which now I look back on, and I'm like, oh, that could some. I can see how some people thought that was flirting and, like, how did I not pick up on that?
Because you were just being you, so it's totally fine. You weren't doing anything wrong. Okay. So the song Take On Me by a-ha is prominent in the chapter that you read. What song is prominent in a romantic chapter in your life?
This is going back to, like, 2005, 2006, and the band Block Party. I think around 2005, they released Silent Alarm? I think it's Silent Alarm, and it had that song, This Modern Love, and my best friend, he, like, burned me the CD. That's how old we are. Burned me the CD, and I listened to the CD constantly that summer, and This Modern Love just, like, stuck out. Like, that was my song, like, that year, like, that period of, like, 2005, 2006, that was my song, and I remember that's when I first started talking to this girl, my first girlfriend, before she became my first girlfriend, and, again, going back to the whole we're basically just, like, flirting back and forth, everyone's telling us we should date, and I'm just like, "I don't want to," like, I'm scared, 'cause I was like, "I'm scared, it's gonna be real." And we just had like this we were just very like back and forth, flirty with each other, just being very friendly. And I remember we got tickets to go see them in Anaheim, Block Party. And we went to go see them. We got like right in the front row. When I was young and I can do that, we can go right in the front row, listen to this, music's like right there, blowing out my eardrums. And I remember on the way over, so my best friend, he was like, "You should just tell her you like her, just tell her." Like, and I was like, "Wouldn't it be funny, romantic, if I told her, like, during that song?" And I just grabbed her hand, I just, like, whispered to her, like, "Hey, I like you." And he's like, "Do it." He's like, "Just do it, do it." And so we're standing there at this that song is playing, and he looks over at me, he's like and I chickened out though, and I chickened out so hard, but, like, that was the song that, like, when I
But you
think
didn't do it?
he didn't do it, no, I chick
Aw, he was being such a good wingman.
He was. He's the best. He was the best wingman when I was, single, especially at that time. Because he was like, "Just tell her, just do it." And then he would be like, "If you like ask her out, I'll drive you guys." And I was like, "Oh my god, dude, stop it." But yeah, I chickened out. But that song still holds a special place in my heart. Like I just think about that time, and every time I hear that song, it just takes me back to that relationship, to that time, and just me being 20, 21, and just having that feeling that like I you know I'm into somebody and they're into me, and it's like the song just speaks to me. And I listen
Yeah,
to that
I
song
know.
now, and I still don't know what the hell that song is about. I don't know. I sometimes I think it's a cynical song, but sometimes I'm like, oh, it's actually a nice, a hopeful song. So I don't know, but that's the song. That's the song I think about. Like if I'm ever like just reminiscing, that's the song.
I love that. I love music in that way. There's a lot of songs that do that for me. So, you said she was your first girlfriend, and you didn't say it in that moment, so how did you end up finally, making it work?
Well, it's a just thinking like that's 2 years. Damn. So we just had like this summer of just like flirting off and on, and everyone just like knowing we're into each other, but nobody was like making the first move. And then so my best friend, he lived in Fullerton at the time, so that was the time like we would just go over there and just we weren't 21 yet, but we would just like he was the only one. not the only one, but he was like the first one that had like a house, you know, like he didn't own it, but he had roommates, but they were always gone. So he would always come over, we would party, we would drink and stuff. And I remember one of those nights, we just went over there, we drank, you know, we got a little high, just hanging out, bullshitting, and stayed over. And it's just so stupid. Like, I'm just cringing a little bit because like the memories are flooding back. But like I remember we were just like we were staying the night and like there was an extra room, but we weren't staying like we were all sleeping in like the living room kind of like I think someone took a couch and then two other people were probably like on the floor somewhere. And I was just sleeping next to her and I just kind of just said, all right, good night. Just, you know, gave her a peck on the cheek without even really thinking about it. And I don't know if this actually happened or if I'm just making this up now, but like my memory, she kissed me back on the cheek and then I just turned over and just like fuck it, just you know, went for a kiss on her lips and she reciprocated. In my mind, I was like, is this happening? Are we doing this now? Like we were kind of sobering up, but like I just started laughing when we were kissing and I was like, she was like, are you okay? Like, why are you laughing? And I was like, yeah, I'm laughing. It's just like I can't believe this is happening. You know? So then we just kept, you know, just kissing a little back and forth and then we kind of left the room and went to the extra bedroom. We didn't do anything. I think we probably just kissed a little bit more and then we just passed out because, you know, we had been smoking and drinking. You know, and then I remember her just like saying to me, like, okay, don't be weird about this like in the morning. I was like, what do you mean don't be weird? She's like, don't like be like, oh, we shouldn't have done this. And I was like, oh no, I'm down. Like, yeah, we should be doing this, you know? And yeah, and so then she dropped me off home the next morning. I gave her a kiss goodbye, and then I didn't know how to play it cool, and I like didn't talk to her for like 3 days. Like I wasn't ignoring her. I was just kind of like awkward. Like oh shit. Like what do I do? Like do I text her? Do I ask her to hang out? Like how does this work? I don't know how this works. You know, I was like. Do I text her? Do I message her? Like, what's going on? And then we saw a movie like as a group like a few days later, and we just kind of just like sat next to each other, just started holding hands and stuff, and then that just kind of blossomed into like us. Like, I think I finally was just like, okay, do you want to go on a real date with me? And then yeah, so, but it
So
was
yeah, it kind of like happened naturally.
yeah. But now I'm just thinking back, I'm like, oh, it's so cringe, just like all like
It's not. It was sweet. Yeah, no. I mean, you probably remember being in that moment, especially those 3 days where you're just like, "What the hell am I supposed to do now?" But yeah,
yeah,
that's like that does feel really cringy because we remember being in that, like, awkward, like, "What the hell" state, especially I think too because then texting was kinda new for us at that time. So it was like a new way of communication that we were still trying to figure out how to handle.
yeah. I mean,
Because the pressure of the etiquette of whether or not you like I feel like phone calls were seen as, like, much more not preferred, but,
I feel like that was too like not intimate.
like, the text could be seen as, like, more casual and not as serious,
Yeah, casual.
whereas now we're just like, "Well, please don't call me, like, we can just text because we don't need to do that."
Yeah, whenever someone calls me now, I'm like, oh shit, what's wrong? Who died? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, "Oh, like, how long am I gonna be on the phone now?"
Yeah,
I
like
just
at that time too, like we did a lot of and IM, you know, never IM messaging, so did a lot of
Yes,
that.
yes, yeah.
That's how we
So,
communicate.
yeah, I do think it added, like, a little bit of extra, like, "Well, what the hell am I supposed to do?"
Yeah. I was just so like I just remember like it's like I wasn't like ignoring her. I wasn't like we shouldn't have done that. I wasn't trying to play cool. I was just like I don't know what the fuck to do. Like no one's told like what's the etiquette here? Like do I just say like hey, just checking in? Like you know I had no idea how to do any of
Yeah.
that. So
Well, and that's how you learned because we all have to go through it at some point. Well, yes, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so the main thing in this story is that Teen Rachel went into the night, like the date, the dance, whatever, uninterested. She made it like very clear that they were going as friends, even though she knew he wanted more. But then she left the night feeling almost like completely different. So, what are your thoughts on the speed in which a person can fall for another, even if they'd already known each other for a long time? Which this kind of touches on like the love at first sight kind of spiel, but with this situation, it wasn't at first sight. It was I don't know, at first dance or in one night or something.
it's just like it's one of those things that like, just happens gradually. You know, it's like you're friends with somebody for a long time, and then like it's almost like that cliche part in a movie. It's like you see them like in a whole new light. It's like they did something or they dressed up, you know, whatever, and it's just like oh, you know, you're not just my friend. You're a person. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or not a person, but it's like oh, you're a potential like spout, not spout, like date, something like that.
partner or yeah,
Yeah, that's thank
yeah,
you partner. So, like, I mean, that just happens naturally, I think, especially if, like, you're really close to somebody. I have a lot of female friends just because, like, that's how I just grew up around a lot of women without exaggeration. Like, I feel like the majority of my female friends at some hi. The majority of my female friends I have had on at one point, and it was just because like, I saw them in, like, a completely different light, and maybe I mistook, like we were saying, the kindness for, flirt.
Mm,
But, yeah, there are some people that are like, I have just known forever, and then you just kinda, like, see them, and it's like, oh, like, it's just like a switch, you know? It's like something that was probably always there and just, like, someone just flipped that switch, for whatever reason.
yeah,
So I get it, it is kind of like not love at first sight, but it's just like the slow, it just grows.
yeah. Like a kinda like a slow grow, but then you have that one moment where it's just like where it finally occurs to you
Yeah,
that there could be something else there.
it's like, oh, they're not just friends,
Yeah.
they're a partner. You have anything to say?
Okay, so we're gonna slowly start to wrap this up. So, what any last questions or comments do you want to ask or add before we close it up?
I was just reading your stories and it just brought me back to that time of just being young and just not knowing what to do and the butterflies about like a first date or that when you have like your first kiss with somebody, and it's just I especially like the part where like you guys went back, breaking not breaking curfew, but you were like really close to breaking curfew, because you're just having such a good time and just that like we're gonna get in trouble, but you don't want to leave the moment, you don't want to ruin the and
Yeah.
I felt that. I felt because I've had the moments when I was younger. It's like, "Oh, I don't wanna like, this is such a perfect night, like, let's not I don't want it to end," you know? And it's just like one of those parts where just like, you just I don't know, it's just like that thrill of, like, first love, I guess, or, like, your first reciprocal,
Mhm.
like, you've had a crush,
Yeah.
someone's actually reciprocating it, and that for me was a big thing too, because I remember just that first feeling of, like, someone being into me, just like, "You're into me? Like, really? Like, are you okay?" Like, that's just immediately where my mind goes, like, "What's wrong with you? Like, okay? Like, know what's out there? Like, what's going on here?"
I think I was similar. I mean, if I had a crush on someone and they reciprocated, I think my first response was denial. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
there's no way. And it usually wasn't even me that would pick up on it. It would be like my girlfriends that would be like, hello. And I'd be like, no, you guys are crazy. You're just saying that because you're my friends and you're nice. But to actually have a crush reciprocate back is like it's wild when it first happens. You're just like, yeah.
it's like being chosen, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
in some weird way, it's like out of all the people they know, out of all the people, it's like they chose you. My problem was like instead of just being like, "Oh, they chose me. There's something good about me." My thought was just like, "Why? Why'd they choose me? What's going on? Like when's the other shoe gonna drop? What's happening here?" That's just
I
my
was very similar to you. I wouldn't have, like, those exact thoughts, but very similar. I'd be like, "Well, like, is this a joke? Where's the camera? Where's the prank?" Or whatever it is. Yeah, I would very much be in denial too, or not instead of just accepting it and going with it and just going into, like, explore mode and, like, let's see how, this is gonna play out and be happy and enjoy it. We're young and it was just more like proceed with caution.
right. Yeah, I had to learn the hard way to just like just go with it. Just go with it. See where it goes. Don't think too much about it. But at that time, which is funny because I was in my 20s. I was so young. I that's the time I feel like I should have been like, just go with it, see what happens. But that's when I was more like, no, what's why is this happening? It's analyzing everything, and then my friend just telling me, just like, shut up, just go, just let it happen. You know?
I know.
Yeah.
I looking back, because I got married pretty young. I was in my mid-20s when I got married. Which was probably, like, the first time that I did kinda, like, go with it, but I do looking back too, I'm just like, I wish I weren't so uptight, like, I wish I would've just gone with the flow, like, so much more and just not worried so damn much, like,
Yeah.
worried about everything.
I worried so much in my 20s, and when I talked to my therapist sometimes, I was like, I worried so much in my 20s. Like, I cared so much about so much stupid stuff. Like, that was the time when I should have been carefree, just like
Yeah.
whatever, And then, but no, my brain was just like, I have to worry about this. Like, I have to think about this. Like, okay, will she still like me if I do this? Like, oh, am I not smart enough? Do I need to get like go to an actual 4-year college? 'Cause I was in community college. I was like, do I need to read more books? Like, what do I need to do? Instead of just like going with it and just being like, no, she chose me for a reason, And now I'm just more like, okay, you're with me. We chose each other. It's cool, But back then I was just like, I just had to think, I had to overanalyze everything, and I look back and I'm like, God, I should have just had the good times, But you can't change anything, so
Yeah. We had to go through it. It's not our fault. We were just built that way. We had to overcome that obstacle. Okay, so before we end, I am going to ask a bonus question. So it's December 2002. What did Michael want for Christmas?
What was going on in 2002? I don't even remember 2002.
I don't know. It was a year after 9/11. I was a senior in high school.
2002. I think I was like starting junior year, maybe. Yeah, I was starting. Huh? Yeah, I was in junior year. Like the iPad hadn't or the iPod hadn't come out yet, right? No, I.
No. Wow. Yeah, we're kind of dating ourselves here. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I just remember like what the hell did I want? Like probably
I
new.
think that might have been the Christmas I got a PlayStation, like, or I think it was a PS1.
Actually, no. You know what? I know exactly what I wanted. 2002. I wanted a computer. I did not have a computer. We had one home computer, and I'm pretty sure most of my friends had at least two computers somewhere in the house. Yeah.
Really? Dang. Your friends were fancy.
Like some of them did have two computers. Like there was like the parent computer, like the home computer, and then there was the computer like they
Yeah.
could play games on or something like that.
Mm.
I think I wanted a new computer, if I remember correctly, because I can't for the life of me think of anything else in 2002 that I wanted.
No, I think that sounds accurate because my graduation gift, because we also had one family computer, and I was an only child, so it was probably easier for us to navigate it being a family computer. But my graduation gift was a laptop, and that was like a really big deal. So yeah, that's probably pretty on point if that's what you wanted. Because yeah, there was no iPads, no smartphones. We had cell phones, but they couldn't do the things. So the laptop was the best thing we could have gotten at
And
that point electronically.
some CD I was dying for, which I can't remember what came out in 2002.
Yeah, I don't know. I know I got a lot of CDs for Christmas and stuff too when I was in high school, but
Yeah,
I can't. I know it's so funny because my mom used to buy me Eminem CDs because she knew I loved Eminem, but I don't think and it would have the parental advisory sticker on it, but
she didn't
she
know.
was always appalled when I would listen to it. I was like, he's pretty clear about who he is, so I don't really know.
And it says explicit on the CD. Like, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he does go like a couple steps above explicit, but yeah, I always thought that was funny. She would always get me those.
It's gonna bug me all day. I'm just gonna be like, what was popular in 2002? I don't.
You're gonna have to go down a Google rabbit hole
Yeah, that's.
to see.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll send you a message later. Where you're like, okay, I changed my answer. This is what I want.
No, I still think that makes sense to have your own computer in 2002. That was a big deal. Okay, well, thank you so much. I enjoyed this conversation. Thanks again for coming on, and I hope you have a good. Wait, what's today? Thursday. I was gonna say have a good rest of your weekend, but it's not the weekend yet. So have a good rest of your week.
Close enough.
It's pretty close. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So, what do you think? How do you feel? If you like this episode and would like to hear another, download the Alive Podcast app, where you can find our archive of audio episodes and discover hundreds of shows featuring Black and diverse voices on the first Black and woman-owned network. If you upgrade to ad-free, please remember to select Rachel Jitsawat as your referring host. The Crush Chronicles podcast is produced by me, Rachel Jitsawat. The music is by Musictown, and the sound effects are by Pixabay. Thank you for listening, and until next time, remember to be somebody's crush, starting with your own.